Okay, so we have yet another tool available to us to do background extractions, remove the light gradients from within our images. Before we get started, I wanted to let you guys know that I also created a post on my website that follows along with this video. So if you need something to reference later after you've watched the video, I'll leave the link in the description for that. This tool called Auto Gradient Removal is from the lead developer at Cyril Richard. And the script is all based on algorithms, math behind the scenes. So we're not using AI with this tool, and it does a really good job. So let's check it out. My name is Rich, and you're watching Deep Space Astro. All right, to install the auto gradient removal, we're going to come up into scripts, get scripts. Down the list here in the search box, just start typing auto, and it'll show up for you, auto gradient removal. Select it over on the right and click apply. Now, if you come back up into scripts and then Python scripts and then processing, you'll see the new script right here, auto gradient removal. I'm going to go ahead and run it, but I don't have an image open, so it's going to yell at me for that. I'm going to click OK, and we are going to open up Andromeda and give it an auto stretch real quick. The gradient's not horrible on this one, but I want to start with this image. Then we'll move into another image that has more complex gradients within it and show you how well the script actually works compared to some of the other tools that we have. So again, Andromeda's open. First thing we're going to do is crop out the edges. It's always important to do this before you do your background extraction. Right click, crop, and then crop. And then we'll come up into scripts, Python scripts, processing, and auto gradient removal. Not going to do anything with the settings right now. I will go over all of them with you in just a minute here, but let's just default settings with this image. Just go ahead and click apply. All right, so the gradient removal is complete, and we'll just slide this over to the side so you can see it. You can come down and click your show background model, and this will show you the background that was removed from your image. To get back to the image, just click show corrected result, and it'll take you back to your corrected image. So before we go into the image that I was talking about earlier that has a really complex gradient going on, let's just talk about these settings. So the first thing that you may have noticed compared to something like the built-in background extraction tool, which is available up in image processing background extraction, there are no sample points laid down to indicate what is the background, either manually or automatically. It's not needed with this script. What it's actually doing is it'll fit a background model on every pixel and then iteratively reject the pixels that look like stars, nebulae, or galaxies rather than the sky. And it'll repeat that until it converges. That model can be built in two different ways. The first, and it's the default, is a multi-scale model, which is what we're looking at right now in this current configuration. And the second is the simplified model. So we'll leave it in the default multi-scale mode right now, meaning we will not select simplified model. And let's just walk through what these settings actually do for you. So the scale, this sets the smoothing radius of the multi-scale model as a percentage of the image size. So default value of 5 for the scale. The higher the number, the smoother the result will be, and it only removes the broad, large scale gradients. Lower the number, the model can follow smaller, more local variations in the background. So if you have patchy local gradients like light pollution glow in one corner, vignetting like local haze, raise it if a low scale is eating too much into the faint diffuse background structure that really isn't a gradient. The next option is smoothest, and what this one does, it'll apply an extra blur pass to the final model after fitting. Default is 1, and as you start climbing up above that 0, the higher the number, the softer, more gradual the result. It's good for stamping out like residual blotchiness left in the model. So if the subtracted background still shows faint patchy artifacts, lower towards 0 if you need the model to track legitimately non-smooth gradients. Structure protection turns on the mechanism that detects extended bright structures, nebulosity, galaxies, large stars, and it excludes them from the background fit rather than letting them get absorbed into the model. When it's on, protection amount sliders are available. When it's off, they're disabled. So protection threshold is how far the current model a pixel has to be before it's flagged as structure and not background. So lower the number, more sensitive, and it protects more. Higher the number, only strongly bright things get protected, and dim nebulosity runs the risk of being fit as background and subtracted away. So lower this number if faint nebulosity is getting eaten into the background model, raise it if too much of the image is being excluded and the fit looks like it's starving for background pixels. The protection amount controls how far the protection mask grows outward from the detected bright cores. So the dim outer wings of a structure like star halos, nebula edges get covered too, not just the core. The higher the number, the bigger the safety margin around those structures, but it shrinks the pool of pixels available to fit the background. So basically, you would raise this if you see a faint ring or halo of gradient artifacts around bright stars and nebulae after correction. Lower it if the protection is taking away too much usable background. That brings us now to the simplified model that I mentioned before. So this option swaps the entire multi-scale approach for a stiff, low-degree polynomial surface. You would use this specifically when a nebula or other structure fills most or all of the frame, right? So there's not that much true background sky. It's all filled with your nebula in the image, because in that case, there's not enough clear background left for a multi-scale model to lock onto. I would only turn this on if you have a really big nebula that covers most of your field of view. Leave it off for normal star fields with clear sky between the objects or behind the objects up in the corners like we do here with Andromeda. As you can see, with it disabled, so is the slider that goes along with it. So if we enable it, default model is 2, which should work well for most situations, but if you were to slide this back to 1, it'll give you more of a flat plane, so like max stiffness, a purely linear tilt. Higher the number allows a more complex curvature. There's also more of a risk of it starting to chase the real structure instead of just the gradient. So basically, I would suggest starting at 2, go to 1 if the correction still looks too aggressive, go up only if a simple gradient shape generally isn't being captured. It's pretty rare, but most vignetting gradient shapes are captured by degree 2. Your downsampling is purely a performance setting. It shrinks the image internally before fitting and then resizes the model back up. It doesn't change the background scale itself. So higher the number, like 8, is much faster with a coarser internal fit. If we were to go down to 1, that's the slowest, but it's also the most precise, but it's rarely necessary since the background is smooth anyways. Again, I would leave it at the default of 4, and I might use this for like a quick preview of a very large image, maybe something that takes a long time to process full size. Downsample it past the default of 4, a little bit more, maybe I would just go to 8, like I said, just to get a quick preview. And then the only reason you'd really would need to set this to 1 is if you suspect the downsampling itself is causing loss of fine gradient details. It's uncommon, but the possibility is there. And then our last setting is our mode, whether we want to subtract or divide. Subtract default, that's where you'll probably run it most of the time. Subtract is for additive gradients like light pollution, moon glow, sky fog, which is the most common case for stacked calibrated images. You could use divide for vignetting, uneven flat fielding, if the gradient is really a smooth brightness fall off tied to an optical vignetting rather than added light. So again, leave subtract as your default and change it only if it leaves a corrected edge corner that's darker, brighter, in a way that scales with the star intensity rather than being a flat offset. That's a sign that you should try to use divide instead. So as you run this, you can run this repeatedly, meaning if I wanted to change my scale, for example, from 5 to 6, I could go ahead and do that and just click apply again. I don't need to close the script and undo my last process. I can just play with the settings and keep hitting apply until the image looks the way that I expect it to look. All right, so with that out of the way, let's close the script, and I am going to open up an image of M81 and M82. This image was taken with a DSLR, and as you can see, we have some crazy gradients going on in the background here that the other gradient tools that we have available to us in Siril just have not been able to handle. And I'll leave this image linked down in the description if it's something you guys want to play with, because again, with these complex gradients in the image, this is a good one to practice with and test against other scripts. So just like we did with Andromeda, I am going to give it a crop to get the edges cleaned up. And then before we actually run that script, let's run the other tools that we had to remove gradients from our image. So let's start with Auto BGE. So scripts, Python scripts, processing, Auto BGE. And this isn't going to be a 100% necessarily accurate test, right? Because each of these, we have settings in each of these tools that we use. So with enough tweaking, you can make the image look better, I'm sure. But for now, we're just going to run through using default settings. So I'm going to click process and let this finish, and we'll come back and take a look at it. Auto BGA is completed, and as you can see, we still have a lot of hard gradient going on, especially this one down here towards the bottom, right? So Auto BGE wasn't able to handle this too well. Like I said, you could tweak the settings, maybe make it look a little bit better. That's why I'm giving you guys the image so you can go through these tests yourself. This would be a super long video, a lot longer than it's probably already ending up if I went through and tried to tweak each one of the tools to get a halfway decent result. I've already done that in the background. The developers at Siril have already done that in the background. This image was just near impossible to remove the background gradients using any of the existing tools that we have. So that's Auto BGE. Let's undo that. And then let's try Graxpert. So again, scripts, Python scripts, processing, and then Graxpert. Background extraction is selected. And again, we're just going to click apply. That completed relatively quickly. But again, we still have gradients going on in the image. It did not remove all of them. We could, again, like I said, play with the settings to see if we can get a better result. And actually, Graxpert was probably the one that I was able to get pretty good results if I started making adjustments. I'm going to undo what I just did first and just bump up my smoothing to 0.7 and hit apply. And that doesn't look horrible, but it's still there. That would drive me crazy if I couldn't get that removed. So, all right, so that's Graxpert. Let's undo, get us back to our original cropped image, and let's take a look at Verilux Nox. So scripts, Python scripts, Verilux, and Verilux Nox. And we'll make sure use PSF is selected. We'll have it auto calculate, and then I'm just gonna hit process. Close the script. And again, it removes some of it, but this painful gradient down here in the bottom is just still lingering around. So let's undo that. And then the other way that we can do background extraction, gradient removal within Siril, is using Siril's own built-in background extraction. So image processing, background extraction. And this one requires us, similar to Auto BGE, right? Auto BGE automatically lays down sample points. You see that happening as you run the process. With Siril's background extraction, you can either click generate and it'll generate them for you, or what's better when you use this tool is just to place them yourself. You don't need a lot. Make sure you don't hit any nebula that's in your image or the objects themselves. Don't put this on any bright stars. Just kind of click around, let the tool know where the background is. So I am going to continue putting sample points on this image and we'll come right back. Sample points are in place. So I'm just going to say compute background. And again, our gradient down here is it's still hanging around. It removes some of the gradient, but again, this problem area right here still exists. So I am not going to apply that. I'm just going to click close. Gets us back to our last image. And now let's run it through the new script. So again, scripts, Python scripts, processing, auto gradient removal. Okay, so in fairness, we'll run just with the default settings first with auto gradient removal against the same image. So I'm just gonna click apply, give it a few minutes, and we'll take a look at the results when it's complete. Okay, it's done. And again, this gradient down here, we're just wrestling with at the default settings. Like I said, with the other examples I gave you with the other tools, we did go through and make multiple adjustments to those settings for each individual script just to see if it can handle getting this. I think Graxpert was the closest that we were able to come. The rest of them, we just couldn't get this gradient removed. So what we found was adjusting the scale and the smoothness was all that was needed to completely remove all the gradients, including this complex one down here towards the bottom from this image. So like we learned at the beginning of the video, our scale, if we set it lower, can follow smaller, more local variations in the background, which is the issue that we're having here. So we're going to take that from 5 down to 2. And then the smoothness will also go into lower. That way the model can follow the smaller, more local variations in the background. So again, 1's the default. We're going to drop this down all the way to 0.2 and then just click apply. We'll let that run and come right back when it's finished. Okay, so gradient removal is complete. And you can see even that problem gradient has been removed from the image. Click the show background model. You can see the results of everything that it's removed and how complex the gradients in this image really was. But it just does a great job. Like I mentioned before, it is not artificial intelligence. It is not AI. This is straight up math going on in the background, analyzing and calculating what needs to be done in the image. So I hope you guys found that useful. Just like I always say, it's just another tool in the toolbox. I'm not saying it's necessarily better than all the other options that we have that we just went through, but play with it, right? There may be times when you're a diehard Graxpert user and that's the one that always works for you, but you may come across an image like we saw in this demo that you just can't get it done. So just wanted to put it out there, let everybody know that once again, we have more options. I want to take this time to say thanks to all my members here on YouTube and on buymeacoffee.com. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to support the channel, consider becoming a member. Other ways to support the channel, use my affiliate links down in the description, merchandise store, and simply just sharing, liking, leaving a comment. It helps the algorithm on YouTube, generates traffic. Like I said, just a great way to support the channel. As always, I appreciate everybody's time. We'll see you on the next one, and clear skies.